What's up everybody, my name is Taylor and I make music here at the Rave Barn. In this course we're going to be remaking Nightcall by Kavinsky. It's an awesome track to learn if you're just starting out because it really showcases how much you can do with very few elements. We're going to be going through everything from arrangement and composition to sound design, vocals, and mixing and mastering. You'll get access to all of the MIDI, all of the samples, and some awesome original vocal stems as well. So come on down to Sonic Academy and let's make some music together. All right, so now we're gonna work on our bass part. So I've got a bass MIDI built up for us here, and we're gonna walk through this, and I'm actually just gonna drag that in, and then I'm gonna hit Command and copy that so that we have two versions, because there's two layers to this bass that we're gonna use. And we're just going to drag in Anna, and we're going to work on the initialized preset. We're going to just initialize this out. So this sublayer is going to be super simple to make. We're just going to take this waveform and we are going to make it into a triangle. Just a simple triangle. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to bump the voices up to 2 and take the octave up 1. Then we're going to turn on our sub, turn that up to about 65–70%. And we're going to change our sub waveform to a triangle wave as well. We're also going to back up this detune just a little bit. Let's take a look at what this sounds like now. Now we're going to take our filter type and we're going to make that Moog low pass. We're going to turn the drive up quite a bit. And we're going to take that cutoff down just a little bit, maybe this one too. And we're also going to bump up the resonance just a little bit. And then to beef this up a little bit, we're going to move over to our second oscillator here, and we are going to select Pulse 100 MIDI and take those voices up to 2 and just leave that octave at 0. We're also going to bump up the sub a little bit on this one as well. Now we're going to move over to our third oscillator. And we're going to go down an octave, and we're going to make this one a triangle as well. So you can just click on triangle. Give that just one voice. Give it a little bit more volume. Maybe give this second guy a little volume too. Just a couple tweaks to the cutoff there to dial things in. We're going to take our amplitude envelope and we're just going to lower the release a little bit. And then we're going to turn up our key tracking just a little bit. And we're just going to tweak these a little bit more, maybe 80 Hertz, and maybe 45 Hertz on the master control. We're going to go ahead and rename this to a sub. You can do that easily by hitting Command R, Control R on the track, and we're just going to call it sub. And then we're going to hit Tab and rename the second one to Moog Bass, because it's kind of got a Moogy sound to it. So let's move on to that one. We're going to grab another instance of Anna and just drag it onto the track. So from here, we're going to work with another triangle. We're going to make the amount of voices 2 again on this and back up on the detune just a little bit. Then we're going to add a second oscillator with 2 more voices, and we're going to make this the Pulse 50 mini waveform. We're also going to crank the volume up on that a little bit. And on this first oscillator, we're going to bump that up an octave. So here's what we've got so far. We can beef this up even more by adding a little bit of sub to that second oscillator, maybe about 48%. Let's turn up the volume on that a little bit more. And we're going to go ahead and turn on key tracking on the filter, be around 60%. And we're going to change this to a low-pass Moog filter. We're going to bring that cutoff down just a bit and boost that resonance way up high. And we're going to take this overall cutoff control down to about 20 hertz. We're also going to turn up envelope following all the way up. And now we're going to move over to our envelope. And this is where we're really going to start getting that 80s type dive bass sound. So we're going to give it a little bit of sustain, maybe -19, and roughly the same amount of release. Now let's take a listen to that. And we don't want that to change depending on how hard we play the notes on a keyboard, so we're going to turn velocity tracking off. And then to give this a little bit more grit, we're going to crank up that drive to about 60%. And if we tweak the curve just a little bit, maybe 51%, we give it a little bit more, maybe 3,000 milliseconds of decay. Now let's listen to both basses together. And then to smooth out this sub a little bit more and give it more vintage edge to it, we're going to grab the JU60 plugin from Sonic Academy. And I'm going to set this to 2 and take the wet dry down quite a bit just to give it a little bit of that chorus effect. Now let's talk a little bit more about what the notes are actually doing. So this song is in the key of A minor, which is fantastic for beginners because there's no sharps or flats in A minor. So our chord progression, it's very simple. It goes A, B, F, D. And we've got these little walks in there with that E, G, E, and then another D. And we can kind of change those up throughout the song. Maybe every couple of cycles you change the walk on one of the bass notes just a little bit to give it a little bit of flair. Another thing that makes this bass line flow really well is the use of a push. And a push is where you start the chord just a little bit before the bar actually starts. So you can see instead of actually starting on bar number 2, it's happening an 8th note ahead of time. And it really adds a nice swing to this and gives it a driving forward feeling. If we were to shift this back so that it starts on the 1, we'll listen to it. It doesn't have as much swing to it. So you can see how adding a little bit of push can really help the song have a more driving, more urgent feeling. And so that about does it for the sound design on the bass. Let's move on to the arpeggiated synth.